morning, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us online today. We really are delighted that you're able to join us. And you may well be sitting on your own or with a small number of colleagues watching this, but know that you are part of a community, because today we have over 1,000 people who are tuning in who've joined us as we set to outline Fáilte Ireland's plans for driving the sustainable development of tourism in 2024. And 2024 is a big year for us as we celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Wild Atlantic Way. And this heralded a whole new era for Irish tourism, and we will be marking this important occasion properly at Mehel, and we'll tell you more about that a little bit later. Today we are going to take you through a very brief overview of last year, and more importantly give you an overview of the opportunities and challenges for 2024 and outline the plans that we have in Fáilte Ireland to support you in the coming year. But before we begin, we have some short messages from our Minister Catherine Martin and our Chairperson Ruth Andrews.
Good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure to welcome you this morning to Fáilte Ireland's annual industry briefing. Driving sustainable development is the theme of this year's event, and the Government of Ireland and Fáilte Ireland are committed to delivering on this theme and collaborating closely with you, the tourism industry, to deliver on our sustainable development goals. Tourism is part of the very fabric of our country, and now more than ever we must ensure that the development of the tourism industry is sustainable, economically sustainable for businesses and operators, but also environmentally and socially sustainable for the communities in which tourism operates. Today I am pleased to announce a new Memorandum of Understanding between Fáilte Ireland and the SEAI. This partnership is a formal commitment between the two agencies to decarbonise the domestic tourism industry. This will bring tangible cost-saving benefits to businesses, as well as playing a significant role in helping us reach the ambitious carbon reduction targets set out by government. For my part, I am continuing to progress the development of a new national tourism policy framework that will seek to mainstream sustainability, environmental, economic and societal, across the entire tourism sector. I am acutely aware of the challenges businesses are facing in their day-to-day operations, and ongoing accommodation capacity constraints and rising operational costs will continue to impact the industry this year. I acknowledge the impact that the use of tourism accommodation for humanitarian purposes has had on the tourism industry since the outbreak of the war in Ukraine. The Government has agreed that a move from an emergency response to a more mainstreamed approach is appropriate and is progressing alternative options for accommodation that will, over time, help to reduce the reliance on a tourism accommodation. Today, I am pleased to announce that I have approved the Business Support Scheme for downstream tourism businesses experiencing particular trading challenges in regions most impacted by tourism bed stock displacement. I would like to thank Ruth and the Fáilte Ireland Authority and Paul and the whole Fáilte Ireland team for their exceptional hard work over the last year, and thank you every one of you, our tourism industry, for your resilience, your tenacity and your contribution to the economy and culture of the country. The Government remains committed to the tourism sector, and I will continue to work hard and advocate on behalf of you all. Gurv Mila Mahagav.
Thank you, Minister Martin, and good morning, everyone. I'm Ruth Andrews, Chairperson of Fáilte Ireland, and on behalf of the Authority, I want to warmly welcome you this morning and thank you for joining us today on Fáilte Ireland's virtual Driving Sustainable Development Industry Briefing. It is a particular privilege for me to speak to you this morning, as this is my inaugural industry address as Chair of Fáilte Ireland. I have spent my entire career in tourism, committing to the growth and development of our dynamic industry, and I am honoured to have been appointed by Minister Martin as Chair of the Authority. In this role, I will continue to support the ongoing sustainable development of tourism in Ireland, and I look forward with anticipation to an exciting year of hard work ahead. Today's briefing will take you through Fáilte Ireland's work plans for the coming year and show you how the National Tourism Development Authority plans to further support the sustainable development of our industry. Tourism is key to the well-being of visitors, host communities and the world at large. As we know, and through the experiences that you deliver, it enriches the lives of visitors through enhancing mental and physical well-being, through rest, rejuvenation, exercise, fun, human connections and education. Tourism enriches the lives of host communities through providing employment, supporting the development of better places to live, encouraging the protection of natural, built and cultural heritage for future generations, and increasing understanding of and connection to people from diverse backgrounds. So given all these benefits, it is essential that we keep developing tourism in a sustainable way for generations of visitors in the future to enjoy and experience that which we uniquely offer. I know that you all share my passion for tourism and have seen firsthand the positive impact that tourists and tourism businesses and jobs have had in communities across the country. As has been mentioned, one fantastic story that we'll celebrate as an industry this year is the 10th anniversary of the Wild Atlantic Way, a now globally recognised tourism brand. We'll mark the anniversary in style at Mehel 2024, giving you, the industry, the opportunity to leverage the occasion with buyers from around the world. Fáilte Ireland's other regional brands, Dublin, Ireland's Ancient East and Ireland's Hidden Heartlands, now cover the country and provide a blueprint for Fáilte Ireland's destination development. As Chair, I want to recognise and thank the dedicated and passionate staff of Fáilte Ireland, ably led by Paul Kelly and his executive team of Deborah Nolan, Jenny de Saulles, Paul Keeley, Orla, Carroll and Niall Tracey, who have shown unwavering commitment to not only developing but progressing our industry, positioning Ireland as a great place to visit and positioning our industry as a great place to work. Many of you own and operate small businesses built up over years and indeed generations. We are keenly aware of the significant challenges and impact that recent global events have had on your business and teams. It is truly remarkable on just how resilient you have been during the worst of times to recovery and rebuilding our tourism businesses, and how you continue to be agile and innovate to continue on. Rising operational costs, inflation, accommodation capacity issues have caused difficulties for businesses right across the country, not aided by the unpredictable weather we experienced last year. I want to recognise now Minister Catherine Martin and her officials at the Department of Tourism, Culture, Arts, Gaeltacht Sports and Media. Minister Martin is extremely supportive of our 2024 plans and has provided the financial means by which we can implement them. Her influential voice advocating for tourism at the Cabinet table is deeply appreciated and acknowledged. The financial supports that she secured in previous budgets during the pandemic enabled Fáilte Ireland to deliver critical business continuity grants to thousands of tourism and hospitality businesses. This funding provided a lifeline for so many businesses on the brink at that time. I have worked in a wide variety of areas of the tourism industry in Ireland, from the hotel and visitor attraction sector to inbound tour operators, and I know, as we all do, that change is a constant in our industry. For me, that's what makes this industry so dynamic, interesting and wonderful to work in and be a part of. As the team at Fáilte Ireland set out their ambitions for the year ahead, you'll hear about new initiatives and updates on innovative programmes designed to help you, our industry, adapt and thrive into the future. Given the quality of the tourism offering in Ireland and the passion that you and your teams have for what you do, I am confident that together we'll rebuild and reimagine our industry so it will be stronger than ever before. Gur raibh maith agaibh go léir, guim gach ró, ormh sa bhliain amach roin.
Thank you, Ruth, and thank you, Minister Martin. I want to just take a moment to acknowledge Minister Martin and her officials for their unwavering support for the tourism sector in general and for Fáilte Ireland's work to support the sector in particular. I would also like to take this opportunity to warmly welcome our new chairperson, Ruth Andrews, to the authority of Fáilte Ireland. Ruth has a renowned track record in the tourism industry, and her vast sectoral experience will be of immense value to Fáilte Ireland. Looking at 2023 then, I know that it was a year that was positive for many, but not without some very significant challenges. And before we look at what's coming up for 2024, it is important to reflect on how well the industry dealt with these challenges and laid the foundations for future development. And I would just like to share a short video on some of the ways that Fáilte Ireland contributed to the sector's achievements over 2023.
After 3 unprecedented years filled with struggle and uncertainty, 2023 has seen our resilient tourism sector continue on the path to recovery. But as the challenges facing tourism evolved, we found new ways to support our industry. Together. We drove quality work practices through our Employer Excellence programme, with hundreds of participating businesses and thousands of benefiting employees. 11 outstanding businesses received due recognition at our inaugural Employer Excellence Awards. We launched new programmes to help our industry develop their most precious resource, their people. We focused on training in managing costs and maximising sales. And we inspired the next generation to discover exciting opportunities in tourism with our Transition Year programme. We focused our efforts on driving domestic tourism by encouraging people to find new ways to keep discovering our country, whatever the weather, in English and in our native Irish. And we used our digital platforms and social media to showcase the range of things to see and do across the whole country. We enhanced the expertise of hundreds of frontline tourism employees with our Local Experts programme workshops, expanded our visitor information kiosks network to new locations, and helped tourism businesses to really understand the needs and motivations of their visitors to allow them to deliver exceptional experiences. We've supported our nation's passion for the great outdoors, unveiling the stories behind our greenways, launching new blueways, and developing breathtaking attractions and experiences. We worked with local authorities to boost the visitor appeal of locations across the country. And through our Digital That Delivers programme, we invested 6.1 million grants to drive digital transformation for hundreds of tourism businesses. Developing destinations remained a key focus, and we launched 4 distinct regional strategies, as well as delivering multiple destination and experience development plans with local stakeholders to support and enhance destinations across Ireland. Together with Tourism Ireland, we invited international media from 14 markets to experience the best of our country. Working closely with the Department of Tourism and Tourism Ireland, we developed a new strategy to unlock the full potential of business events for the country. In partnership with Tourism Ireland, we helped hundreds of tourism businesses take advantage of overseas sales platforms and pitch to international buyers and tour operators at events like Mehel 2023. We supported new and unique festivals and events around the country to celebrate our culture and bring people together, including 3 unforgettable large-scale festivals. To help realise our vision of an industry that is accessible to all, we created a new accessible tourism team. The protection, enhancement and promotion of our natural environment continued to be an integral part of our work. We inputted into city, county and government level development plans to advocate for policies that support sustainable tourism development. In staying true to our sustainability and climate commitments, we established a new Climate Action Division and launched regenerative tourism schemes under the EU Just Transition Fund. Together with our government and department colleagues, we inputted into policies and legislation and delivered research essential to the development of our industry. We collaborated with Tourism Northern Ireland and Tourism Ireland under the government's Shared Island Initiative to build links between visitor experiences north and south. In 2024, we will continue to work closely with our partners to drive sustainable tourism development, so that together we will see our tourism economy emerge stronger than before.
Watching that video reminds me of the great progress that we have achieved in the last 12 months working together. I continue to be hugely proud of, and I'm incredibly privileged to work with the team in Fáilte Ireland. I would like to take this opportunity to also thank all the people who've played a pivotal role in driving the tourism recovery in the last number of years, including the Fáilte Ireland Authority, as well as the Fáilte Ireland Industry Advisory Group members, our colleagues in Tourism Ireland, all the industry representatives in ITIC, our partners in the OPW, Waterways Ireland, National Parks and Wildlife Service, Fáilte, the SEAI, the 31 local authorities around the country, and the City and County Managers Association. In 2023, there was also a lot of cross-government collaboration, and I would like to thank our colleagues in various departments like the Department of Rural and Community Development, Enterprise, Trade and Employment, Transport, Integration and Housing for all of their engagement and support. And of course, I want to once again recognise the tremendous support that we've received from Minister Martin and all the officials in the department. Former Secretary-General Catherine Licken, Assistant Secretary Cian O'Lean, Maria, Orla, Bernard, Niamh, Noel and all of the team. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome our new Secretary-General, Fergal O'Quigley. But most of all, I want to acknowledge the tremendous work last year by everyone out there who was running and working in businesses in the tourism industry. You are the ones providing the 100,000 welcomes to our visitors and the well over 200,000 jobs to our communities. So thank you very much for all of your work. So based on all of the hard work, how did tourism do in 2023? Well, the latest Fáilte Ireland barometer shows that the majority of businesses grew in 2023, and the strongest performing sectors were those which benefited most from the post-COVID recovery of overseas tourism, like tour operators, DMCs, hotels, visitor attractions. Food and drink businesses didn't perform as strongly, but still more of businesses in that sector reported being up in revenue terms than they were down. Activity providers were the only sector where more businesses were down rather than up, and this was predominantly due to the poor weather that we had last summer. Remember all that rain. The recovery in overseas business was a big driver in 2023, but it was also encouraging to see the strong domestic market performance, with 70% saying domestic business was up or the same as 2022. This was particularly reassuring to see given the post-COVID rush by many Irish residents to overseas destinations last year. So that was 2023. Now let's turn our attention to 2024. When we ask businesses, what do you think 2024 will look like? Most businesses are predicting it will be better than 2023, with 44% of businesses expecting it to be up on visitors this year. This is not uniform across all sectors, and with some food and drink businesses and B&Bs in particular predicting a more challenging year this year. However, the overall expectations of positivity are reasonably consistent across all regions, and further growth from overseas visitors is expected to lead the way, but also there's strong expectations that domestic visitors will continue to perform well. Let's take a closer look for a moment at the prospect for overseas visitors this year. We are set to have the highest ever air access capacity this year, with levels above both 2019 and 2023. And while airlines continue to plan their full 2024 schedule of seat capacity, for Q1, this is going to be 5% above the same period last year, and we expect this trend to continue throughout the year. Whatever part of the country you are in, the chances are that the majority of your overseas visitors will have arrived in Ireland via Dublin Airport as our key critical gateway. And therefore, from a national tourism perspective, it is critical that a way can be found to allow Dublin Airport to grow so that the rest of the industry continue to grow too. When we look at businesses' expectations, we see that North America is again expected to be the strongest market, but all major markets are expected to perform well. It's particularly good to see that expectations for Great Britain are being more positive than they have been for a number of years. Now let's turn to the domestic market for a moment. Intention to take a holiday in Ireland this year is still strong at about 45%, but that is 4% lower than it was this time last year. So what's driving this? Well, when we look at the overall satisfaction from last summer of people having their trips and look at the value scores from the same period, we see that the satisfaction is very strong, but value for money is not scoring as highly. So for this year then, providing as good value for money as you can, along with maintaining that excellent customer experience, will be key to delivering strong domestic volume this year. Now turning from what looks like a very positive demand side to a much more challenging supply side. We are acutely aware of the three critical challenges that will impact all tourism businesses: costs and competitiveness, capacity constraints, and climate change. Firstly, every tourism business in Ireland is experiencing the unprecedented rise in operating costs from energy, labour, insurance, food and drink, linen, credit, etc. These rising costs, combined with the return to the 13.5% VAT rate and the future payroll-related costs that are coming down the pipeline, are putting huge pressure on all operators, and many businesses are struggling to maintain viable operating margins. Fáilte Ireland is engaging with all stakeholders to ensure that there is a full understanding of these cost pressures and to push for whatever actions that can be taken that can help businesses manage this. Secondly, on capacity constraints, we are all aware of the 20 to 30% of accommodation stock that has been removed from the tourism market in order to support the humanitarian response to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. There are counties and towns where, in fact, the majority of tourism accommodation is currently unavailable to tourists, and this is having an impact on other businesses that rely on visitors staying in their area. And as Minister Martin mentioned earlier, we will be rolling out a business supports grant specifically for those activity providers and visitor attraction businesses that are significantly affected by the displacement of registered tourism accommodation stock. The detail of this will be announced at a webinar on March 4th. Another capacity constraint for us is hire cars, and this was a big issue in 2022, and while the situation did improve in 23, hire car stock projections for the high season this year are still significantly lower than what the hire cars were in 2019. And with such a strong air access forecast that I outlined earlier, this is likely to mean there will be pressure on hire car availability again this summer. And of course, the workforce capacity is still a challenge. The recruitment and retention of staff continues to be an ongoing issue for the industry, and the labour market remains very tight. And finally, of course, as we all know, our biggest long-term challenge is climate change. And the carbon footprint of people travelling, and particularly people flying, is something that some people have been questioning. Now, Ruth outlined earlier all the positives of tourism, and they are really important. I won't go through them again. But in that context, we must accept that we live on an island on the edge of Europe, which means for the vast majority of people who want to go on holidays from Ireland or our visitors who want to come to Ireland, air travel is the only way to get there. And we do not have the luxury of a country like Germany where you can reach it and it can be reached from over 10 countries within a 3 to 4 hour train journey. Unfortunately, aviation technology, while it's still improving, it still has a long way to go to decarbonise air travel. But as Minister Ryan outlined last week, this is something that needs to be worked on an international, systematic level. In the meantime, we, along with our colleagues in Tourism Ireland, need to think about how we can get the maximum benefit from each visitor air mile flown. And this means we need to look at revenue per kilogram of carbon generated by overseas visitors and ensure that we are focusing on those added value overseas visitors. However, when we look at the in-destination carbon footprint of tourism businesses, this is an area where we can see very clear ways and significant opportunity to decarbonise tourism. And this will be a key focus for us in 2024 and beyond. So with all of these demand-side opportunities and supply-side challenges in mind, it is essential that we keep developing tourism in a sustainable way. So let us look again at what the definition of sustainable tourism is. The United Nations World Tourism Organization has defined sustainable tourism as tourism that takes full account of its current and future economic, social, and environmental impacts, addressing the needs of the visitor, the industry, the environment, and host communities. So what does that look like for Ireland as both a visitor destination and for our industry? Well, it means that our industry is economically resilient, regionally dispersed, seasonally spread, delivers on its climate action targets, consistently provides excellent satisfaction to all visitors and excellent careers to staff, and is making significant contributions to local communities. And all of this supported by a coordinated and collaborative sustainable destination development by national and local state bodies. To deliver this economic resilience for our sector, our ambition going forward is for a national average annual growth rate of 5.6%, with developing regions and off-peak months growing revenue faster than the national annual average. So why are we aiming for an annual average revenue growth of 5.6%, you may wonder? Well, this is broadly the level of growth that we believe will be financially attractive enough to the private sector to ensure that the sector is economically resilient and sustainable. But importantly, it's also the type of growth rate that, based on our estimates using the data that's currently available, that can enable the tourism industry here on the ground in Ireland to hit the government's 2030 climate change targets. If and only if all parts of the ecosystem deliver the required action to reduce carbon emissions. This is a very big if, and it's a critical point for the sector as a whole and for every individual business in the sector. We all need to act quickly and significantly to reduce our carbon emissions. This whole area is moving rapidly over the next few years from an optional course of action to an imperative to business survival. And we are determined to provide the best support we can to the tourism industry in making these changes. And we'll talk a lot more about that later on. As per best practice in sustainable tourism development, we need to address the needs of the visitor, the industry, the environment, and host communities. For over a decade now, Fáilte Ireland has followed this VICE model, as we call it, Visitor, Industry, Community, Environment. But given the challenges that we face now on capacity constraints and climate change, we need to dial up even more our focus on the E and the C of VICE, the environment and the community impacts. My colleagues will present in more detail on these shortly, but just to give you a brief overview, let's start first of all with the E, the environment. Under environment, our first initiative is to support the industry to change the environmental sustainability of tourism premises to achieve the government climate action targets by 2030 in both carbon emissions and energy efficiency. Our second focus is to ensure that Ireland is and is seen to be a leading sustainable tourism destination that protects, restores and champions our natural environment for the benefit of all. The natural landscape is a huge driver for tourism in Ireland, and we must take care of it and protect and enhance the biodiversity that it supports. We have a very ambitious plan and are putting significant supports in place to help businesses become more environmentally sustainable. Jenny de Saulles, our Director of Sector Development, will go into this in further detail. But a key enabler of this is the new partnership between Fáilte Ireland and the Sustainable Energy Authority of Ireland that was announced by the Minister earlier. This will allow us to work together across key areas for the tourism sector, like energy efficiency and the adoption of renewable technologies. Now let's look at the C of the VICE, the community. Our first initiative is to develop a sustainable visitor economy that drives revenue and employment in communities across the country and throughout the year. We will be guided here by our 4 regional tourism strategies that we launched last year, and these will be brought to action via continuing the rollout of our Destination Experience Development Plans, or DEDPs as we call them. Our second community initiative is to actively collaborate with communities to harness the potential of the tourism economy to support sustainable and authentic development of destinations, making them great places to live and to work as well as to visit. We have made huge progress in improving our destination offering in recent years, from new visitor experiences to improved public realm, and we have strong plans to continue this progress in 2024, and our Director of Regional Development, Paul Keeley, will speak more about this shortly. Moving on then to the V of VICE, the visitor. Our first visitor initiative is to motivate our target audiences to choose Ireland as the destination that will best meet their holiday needs. This will involve increasing the appeal and relevance of destinations in Ireland amongst key target audience domestically through our Keep Discovering campaign. And of course, in partnership with Tourism Ireland, we'll be working to drive the appeal of Ireland internationally and increase the average spend per day and length of stay of overseas visitors. Our work on the domestic marketing, our work with regional convention bureaus on bringing international conferences to Ireland, and our work supporting Tourism Ireland's overseas efforts have all been key to the recovery of the sector in recent years. And our Director of Demand Development, Niall Tracey, will outline our plans for this area for 2024 and how you can get involved. Our second initiative under Visitor is to support the continued development and delivery of exceptional visitor experiences. And we have some really exciting new and enhanced visitor attractions and outdoor activities infrastructure that's going to open this year and some next as well. Orla, Carroll, our Director of Product Development, will tell you more about this as well. And finally, onto our industry capability initiatives. Our first initiative is to support businesses to grow sustainably, driving competitiveness, digitization and economic resilience. Many of the cost and capacity challenges that the industry face are outside the control of either Fáilte Ireland or any individual tourism businesses. But what this means is that we all must ensure that we work even harder on the things that are within our control, like how we can make the required changes to become more sustainable, but to manage and reduce our ongoing costs, and how we leverage the new digital opportunities there are in the world. Our second industry initiative is to support employees to continue to build expertise and knowledge, delivering improved organisational efficiency and visitor experience, and also to support employers to provide excellent employment opportunities. It is no longer good enough just to provide any kind of job. Tourism businesses need to offer desirable, inclusive and progressive career opportunities to attract and retain talent. Jenny de Saulles and Paul Keeley will outline our plans to make a broad range of supports available to every business and every employee in a way that is easy to access. So I hope now you have a good sense of our overall approach to supporting the development of tourism in Ireland in a sustainable manner for the visitor, the industry, the community and the environment. And we'll now take each of these elements in turn in more detail, and we're going to start with the environment. So over to you, Jenny.
Thank you, Paul. As you said, a key priority for us in 2024 is climate action. And today I'm going to talk you through the Fáilte Ireland Climate Action Programme we have developed to support you on your journey. I will also talk about our ambition to develop Ireland as one of the most sustainable tourism destinations in Europe. We all know the pressure to reduce emissions is immense. Both Paul and the Minister have been clear about this being a priority and that Ireland has committed to cutting greenhouse gas emissions in half by 2030 and to achieving net zero emissions by 2050. Like all sectors of the economy, the tourism sector must play its part in responding to this global climate challenge. The tourism sector itself is highly vulnerable to climate change, while at the same time contributes to emissions of greenhouse gases, which cause global warming. Accelerating climate action in tourism is of the utmost importance for both the resilience and overall reputation of the sector, and for businesses. By reducing your carbon emissions, you can save money and boost your reputation as a sustainable tourism business. Paul mentioned earlier the Cross-Government Commercial Buildings Working Group has prioritised tourism as the number 2 sector behind retail. In line with this cross-government approach, we in Fáilte Ireland are prioritising climate action and are integrating this key area across the entirety of our plans. We must also be aware of increasing legislative requirements across the EU from the European Green Deal. One piece of legislation which emerged for larger businesses this year and for medium to small businesses from 2025 is the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive, also known as CSRD. This will require businesses to disclose and be increasingly transparent about their climate and environmental data. Another new piece of legislation is the EU Green Claims Directive. To combat greenwashing, businesses will not be permitted to make vague claims about the environmental impact of their products or their services. At a destination level, we have identified a range of indicators used internationally to measure the sustainability credentials of a destination. In 2024, we are establishing the benchmark for our 4 destinations and benchmarking versus best-in-class international destinations to provide data and insights to create development plans. We also have in place environmental monitoring across all of our destinations. It allows us to gain more insight from an environmental perspective as to what is happening at a variety of sites where we encourage visitors to frequent, gathering information, visitor behaviour, movement and environmental conditions. This is to note good and bad practice at sites and to make recommendations where appropriate for site management. These programmes ensure we continue to develop our destinations in a sustainable way and give us robust data to support any claims we make. In our ambition to develop a climate action support programme for tourism businesses, we consulted with you, and your feedback was frank and clear. You find the area of climate action complex and that the advice given is often not as neutral or unbiased as it may seem. And you also struggle to access the grants available. We diligently listened to what you said, and it was clear we needed to create a simple, straightforward programme that connects everything in a one-stop shop. And we have done exactly that by developing a simple 3-step process which puts the business front and centre. The first step is to figure out where you are at present. Your advisor will set a baseline for your business's carbon emissions and advise on the potential priority areas for you to address, how these areas can be addressed and what impact such changes may have for your business. Once you commit to the plan, it moves to step 2, where your advisor will visit your premises and develop and refine your processes, set targets and put an action plan in place to deliver these goals. Step 3 focuses on implementation, where they will support you with grant applications and access to green finance. Supporting this, we will have development programs for leadership teams, for operational teams, and basic training for all of your employees. Your dedicated advisor will hold your hand throughout the entire process. And we appreciate that this is a long-term commitment for you, but we are ready to partner with you on this journey. We have looked at what other sectors are doing and have benchmarked internationally, and what we have created is a comprehensive and holistic programme that is everything you need to succeed. Everyone, regardless of where they are in their journey, will get a dedicated advisor to support and navigate through their journey. This one-stop shop will centralise everything into one place so that we can address all of your challenges and concerns regarding climate action in your business. We also know that appropriate funding is key to driving impact, and in Ireland, the SEI are key to this. I am delighted to say we have formalised a new partnership and MOU with the SEI, and they have committed to prioritising tourism businesses. We have agreed ambitious targets to support up to 1,000 tourism businesses over the next 3 years and to treble the number of grants drawn down from the tourism sector. We know most tourism businesses fall between the audit and the grant application, and this is why we have developed a dedicated audit to action process with the SAI to ensure that this does not happen in the future. We will monitor this new process closely to ensure it runs smoothly, and we will be meeting bi-monthly with the SAI to review the numbers of tourism businesses who are in their process and successful in drawing down funding. This programme has been tried and tested with 14 hotels, and the feedback from those involved in the pilot has been very positive, with significant progress being made in developing and actioning plans. This programme will help you to save money on energy, water and waste. In the work we have done to date, we have seen that SMEs have saved up to 30% on their energy bills by implementing simple, cost-effective energy efficiency measures. You will also motivate your staff, helping you to attract and retain them, and this will also enhance your reputation with visitors while helping you to secure business and in tandem helping in future-proofing your business. And this leads nicely to the visitor perspective. Visitors, like all customers, are starting to demand sustainability credentials. We can see this already in other sectors, and sustainability is becoming a more important part of decision-making processes. And in terms of marketing, as mentioned earlier, our vision is to establish Ireland as the most sustainable destination in Europe. We are making it easy for the visitor to see how Ireland is sustainable and the tourism business within it. This is through our new All-Island Sustainability Assurance Programme. Developed with our partners in Tourism Ireland and Tourism Northern Ireland, we will launch a new badge that will be available for businesses to use over the coming months. The aim here is to alleviate the confusion between the different certifications on the market. An independent expert panel will rank and score each certification programme and validate the various offerings available with one consistent badge. This will be available for businesses to communicate to their visitors to validate their sustainability credentials. And it will be used by Fáilte Ireland, Tourism Ireland and Tourism Northern Ireland in their marketing. Your advisor will review any existing certifications that a business has in place and advise on forthcoming support for marketing and communications in this regard. So, to wrap up, my ask of you is to express your interest in the Climate Action Programme by logging on to and registering your commitment and partner with us by joining the programme. When the advisor reaches out to you, we ask that you fully commit to establishing your action plan and support us as we strive to ensure that Ireland is recognised as one of the most sustainable tourism destinations in Europe and ultimately the world. Thank you.
Thanks, Jenny. Sustainable development requires us to balance a real tension between the desire for growth and the need to protect our environment and the communities in which we operate. From a community perspective, to create stronger businesses and higher quality employment, we need to manage regionality and seasonality in a way that prioritises revenue over volume, making sure the revenue is spread more evenly across the year. In terms of seasonality, we need to work the October to May period harder if we want higher quality businesses and jobs. In terms of regionality, the map shows how we've made progress in the past on spreading the business, but we have much more to do. We have to continue to warm up the blue areas in the map. We need to figure out the attractions and activities needed to get people into the areas. And equally, we need the accommodation and nighttime economy to keep them there. In the red mature areas, we have to focus on visitor management, ensuring the experience is a good one for visitors and locals alike. And the growth opportunity lies in growing that October to May period. We launched 4 regional tourism strategies that are informed by sustainable development principles. And these are brought to life through local destination development plans, DDPs. They're a great example of public-private partnership working for the benefit of the industry and the communities they serve, helping to create better places to live and visit. So let's take a look at what's happening in each region. Dublin needs to manage growth in the city by dispersing visitors more easily and making more of its fantastic location between the sea and the mountains. And to drive this on, we already have the Coastal Trail and Docklands DDP. The City DDP will launch later this summer, and we'll commence development of the Mountains DDP. And these combined will make the most of Dublin's visitor offering, bringing out the best of each of these areas. Combined, they'll entail the delivery of approximately 150 development projects. And key actions for 2024 include work on visitor orientation, winter in Dublin, our partnership with the National Cultural Institutions, accommodation development, food strategy, and 3 capital investment projects. New Year's Eve Festival and Winter in Dublin, which we've invested heavily in, are really making a difference in increasing revenue in the quieter winter months. In Ireland's Ancient East, our challenge is to give people reasons to visit and to slow them down rather than quickly traverse the region. So to improve destination appeal, we already have 6 active DDPs covering 8 counties. Wexford is at draft stage, and a DDP for Wicklow is scheduled to be developed later in 2024. The Just Transition programme will also service parts of the region, and my colleague Orla Carroll will say more about this later in the session. In total, there are 600 development projects to be pursued with partners. Key actions in 2024 include work around orientation projects, food strategies, accommodation development, and again, new capital projects. Every destination wants to increase visitors' dwell time. So taking Ireland's Ancient East as an example, to create greater stickiness in destinations, DDPs such as Waterford include visitor orientation strategies which help the visitor explore the city and the county and easily find great attractions and activities on offer. In terms of Ireland's hidden heartlands, our ambition is to position the region as a regenerative tourism offering. In this regard, the Just Transition programme is big news. It seeks to regenerate a depleted natural landscape and position tourism as an industry that will create new jobs and support local communities. We have a DDP in place for Lough Derg. The Upper Shannon Erne and border area will launch later in the summer, and 3 further DDPs will be developed in 2024 and 2025. In total, we have 100 development projects already active and being pursued with partners. And again, key actions for 2024 include the Just Transition Fund, capital projects such as the Shannon Pot Discovery Centre, and community activation projects. Now, building industry and community capability is a feature of many DDPs, and Ireland's Hidden Heartlands offers a lovely example of the work being done to support communities and industry to fully leverage off the investments being made in greenways and blueways across the IHH geography. The strategic priorities in Wild Atlantic Way are to raise the profile of the northern half of the region, to increase season extension and visitor dispersal in the southern half, and to protect the region's cultural authenticity and wildness. There are already 12 active DDPs across the Wild Atlantic Way region working towards the achievement of these aims. 2 others will be launched in 2024, and 2 further ones will be initiated. In total, there are 700 development projects to be pursued with partners. And key actions again for 2024 include shared island projects focused on the northern half of the region, capital projects such as Westport House, Queen Maeve Square and Fort Dunree in the northern half of the region, and traffic management projects in key locations across the southern half. Saleable experiences development to encourage visitation and dispersal will also be a feature of the work. And you hear us in Fáilte Ireland talk about saleable experiences, and these really are an important way of showcasing what's unique and special about an area. And to give you an example of what we mean by this, we've developed a range of unique bilingual experiences as part of a Gaeilge agus Fáilte portfolio developed with Údarás na Gaeltachta and local industry. So, to summarise, there are now 24 DDPs, rising to 34 by 2026. We have over 1,000 industry partners collaborating with us on DDPs. There are over 1,550 development projects and 150 capital projects in our pipeline. We're committed to partnering with you to deliver sustainable growth for your businesses and destinations, and to enhancing Ireland as a place to live and visit. Thanks for your attention, and let me hand you over now to Orla Carroll to talk about the details of our product development pipeline. Orla.
Thank you, Paul. Paul mentioned saleable experiences, and to motivate visitors to come to Ireland and have a memorable holiday, it's important that we continue to enhance our existing experiences and develop new ones to keep Ireland up there as a must-see destination. So I'm going to take a few minutes to share with you the exciting projects that are in our product development pipeline. As you will see from the spread of projects, these new developments are intrinsically linked to our regionality and seasonality objectives. Capital projects by their nature take many years to develop. That's why it's important that we take a long-term view and develop our vision and our thinking out to 2030. With this in mind, we have a strong pipeline in place with over 150 projects, but we do need to continually feed this pipeline so we have a constant flow of new news for the visitor. Don't worry, I'm not going to go take you through the 150 projects today, but instead we'll focus on the ones that will be opening this year. I'll also update you on Just Transition and Shared Island. First to open in 2024 is Connacht Harbour. This project seeks to redevelop the harbour and reinstate Portumna as a major cruising hub on the Shannon. The redevelopment of Connacht Harbour includes the increasing of mooring berths, bringing the total to 41 berths, new canoe step access, and the provision of ancillary onshore services, such as seating, picnic tables, charging points and interpretation. The harbour is not currently accessible by foot to the town, so this project will see a new cycle and walking trail linking Connacht Harbour to the town and Lough Derg Blueway. For the visitor, the one part of Dublin Castle that makes it look like a castle is the Record Tower, but this is currently empty and inaccessible to visitors. To open this up, this project sees the installation of a new lift that will allow visitors to the top of the tower, allowing panoramic views of the grounds and the oldest part of the city. A new museum showcasing Dublin's medieval treasures will cover 4 floors in the tower. The double height top floor and the viewing platform above it will be available as a unique venue for social events linked to international conferences. This will give a more complete experience to Dublin Castle. This project sees the development of an exciting city centre car park into a permanent flagship all-weather events venue on the banks of the Garrogue River in Sligo town. This project aims to act as a central focus for many of Sligo's attractions, providing additional reasons for people to visit the town centre and to stay longer, while providing an attractive outdoor dining and gathering experience. Development of Queen May Square gives opportunity to develop walking trails from the centre of Sligo and includes the development of a trail south of the Garrogue River, along Durley Park and down to Lochgill. This also connects the pontoon at Durley Park, from where visitors can board boat trips of Lochgill. On then to New Ross and the New Ross Tourism Transformation Project, which was successfully under the second call of RDF in 2019. This first phase centres on the Brody Famine Ship, which is one of the premier tourist attractions in the southeast of Ireland. This phase of the project will focus on the renewal of the attraction through the creation of a new immersive visitor experience within the visitor centre. We started an urban animation scheme during COVID to rejuvenate our public urban spaces and make them more inviting for visitors. In 2024, we will see the unveiling of the work in Kilkenny, which consists of a number of large installations and an urban park. Fáilte Ireland are investing 28 million in outdoor water sports facilities across the country. This is an investment of 1.2 million per site. These facilities will provide those engaging in the activities with proper changing facilities and will help position Ireland as a best-in-class activity destination. We have 20 locations in the 4 regional brands and will be having the first opening this year in Carroll, County Wexford, with a further 16 opening in 2025. Continuing on the outdoor team, we have spoken in the past about developing Ireland as a mountain biking destination. Ready for the 2024 season, we now have an overall trail network of nearly 200 kilometres of trails at 5 locations across the country. Trailhead centres will begin construction in 2024. At each location, we have trails for different abilities, and if you are energetic enough, and they are certainly worth the trip, as the top of the views are amazing from the top of the mountain. In addition, we will have 1 Blueway opening this year, and another 2 will open early in 2025. Finally, for 2024, we have a full calendar of 48 strategically funded festivals and a further 221 regionally funded festivals right across the country, right across the year. Now looking to 2025, we will also have 24 projects opening across the country. Some of these projects are enhancements to existing successful attractions, for example, Carroll Visitor Centre, while others are brand new attractions, such as Shannon Pot. And of course, we are continuing to build on opening the outdoors with our outdoor water sports facilities and Blueways. And next year, I'll tell you a little bit more about each of those. I'd like to quickly mention Just Transition. This is a 68 million regenerative tourism and placemaking scheme, which is being funded under the EU Just Transition Fund. This fund will act as a catalyst to kickstart the development of regenerative tourism in the region. The fund seeks to generate employment for former peak communities by investing in the diversification of the local economy and supports the regeneration and repurposing of peatlands and related land. Fáilte Ireland is an intermediate body for the funding, and we will distribute the funding through 6 schemes. The first allocates 30 million for the development of walking and cycling trails and delivers on the repurposing of peatlands. The remaining 38 million of the fund is spread across 5 schemes with the aim to generate employment. The schemes are launched and are currently processing applications. Full information is available on our website, faulteireland.ie, and the closing date is June 2024. So I would encourage people to get their applications in, as projects need to be completed by 2026, which, as you know, isn't long for capital projects. Finally, 6 of the local activators are in place and they are on the ground to help people navigate the application process. Moving northwards, Fáilte Ireland, in collaboration with Tourism Northern Ireland and Tourism Ireland, were awarded 7.6 million under Shared Island. The objective is to connect the Causeway Coast and the Wild Atlantic Way in such a way that the visitor is motivated to stay longer and spend more, thereby bringing greater economic benefit to the region. We will work together to develop an appropriate proposition and brand management for the region. New content will be developed in line with the brand collaboration and cross-promotion of the experience within the region. We also need to ensure consistency of the visitor experience at discovery points between the Giant's Causeway Coastal Route and the Wild Atlantic Way. And finally, we are aiming to launch a small grant scheme for both the private sector and the local authorities in May, with the focus to enhancing the visitor offering across the region, as well as fostering collaboration and cross-promotion. From this whistle-stop tour, you can see that there's a lot going on, and it's important for the future of tourism that we don't stand still. We need to continually enhance and improve our product offering. Similarly, we need to be sure that the visitor is aware of all these wonderful experiences we have to offer. So I'm going to hand you over to Niall now, who will talk you through our exciting marketing programme.
Thanks, Orla. As Paul Kelly mentioned earlier on, the tourism sector is potentially on the cusp of remarkable growth. If the sector grows by an average of 5.6% in revenue between now and 2030, that's an increase of nearly 50% in revenue over the next 7 years. So we know domestic consumers play an important part in the success of many of your businesses. Domestic visitors are more likely to travel off-season, more likely to travel to all parts of the country, and are more likely to take multiple breaks in Ireland. As you've heard from Paul Keeley and Jenny Saulles, as part of our new strategy, we're planning to focus even more on regional, seasonal and sustainable breaks, while also looking to attract more higher spending visitors. Because at the heart of what we're trying to do in Visitor is to support your efforts to grow revenue and to help you deliver a brilliant and memorable experience for visitors. For Irish consumers, we know our domestic Keep Discovering campaign is particularly strong at encouraging consumers to stay in Ireland to discover new places, new experiences, new destinations across the country. Hence, we will be continuing to promote all the regional brand areas and their destinations under our Keep Discovering banner. For overseas visitors, we are working closely with Tourism Ireland to attract added value visitors, including those that are higher spending, travel regionally and open to visit off-season. One of the key ways we support overseas activity is hosting international media and buyers. Listen, there is nothing like Experience Ireland for yourself if you're going to write travel articles or develop itineraries to sell Ireland. So we will host well over 1,000 overseas media and buyers this year. Speaking of overseas buyers, we will also continue to help you access and get full value from the many overseas sales opportunities and events that the Tourism Ireland teams provide in the various overseas markets. In 2023, we supported 13 of these events over 45 days, creating opportunities to meet nearly 500 international buyers. Also, after the phenomenal success we had last year with the Notre Dame versus Navy college football game, in 2024, Ireland is hosting the Georgia Tech versus Florida State University game in Dublin. This is the first game of the college football season and the only game being played that weekend. So from ESPN to all of the major networks, the eyes of college football in the US will be on Ireland. In golf, we are in what has been called the decade of golf here in Ireland, with so much to look forward to between now and 2027. The Irish Opens are going from strength to strength, with the Irish Women's Open being hosted by Carton House, and the Men's Irish Open in Royal County Down in the northeast, before it returns to the K Club in 2025. And 2025 is the start of the big ones for golf on this island. In 2025, Royal Portrush once again hosts the Open, the only golf major outside of the US. And we know from when Portrush hosted this event back in 2019, the Open gave a significant boost to golf and broader tourism businesses across the Northwest. Then, in 2027, Adare Manor in Limerick will host the Ryder Cup. A truly special sporting event, watched by millions and millions of fans across the world. The scale and credibility of these events and the opportunity to present Ireland as a must-play golf destination is massive. Outside of leisure, we are also working with Tourism Ireland and our department on a new business event strategy. Business delegates are high-value visitors, and despite concerns during COVID, business tourism is bouncing back strongly. At Fáilte Ireland, we are focusing on the opportunity around association conferences, while supporting Tourism Ireland as they work overseas on attracting corporate meetings and incentive business. We'll be talking more about these opportunities when the new strategy is launched later this year. Finally, this is also a special year for Wide Atlantic Way, as it is 10 years since the brand was launched. Listen, I know it feels longer, especially when you think of the impact the brand has had for tourism and local communities throughout the region. The success is down to the work and effort that industry, like yourselves, local stakeholders and the local people have invested in the brand. In 2024, we will focus the celebration of Wild Atlantic Way's success around Mehel in Kerry, where we have so many of the industry and overseas buyers in the region. As we're all very aware, to stay competitive, Irish tourism businesses need to make sure that they are at the forefront of the current digital transformation. And to tell us more about our digitalisation programme for industry, I'll pass you on to Paul Keeley, Director of Regional Development.
Thanks, Niall. I'd like to give you a quick update on some of our digital transformation support for industry. Our Digital That Delivers programme was initiated in response to a market failure in terms of digital maturity across the experiences sector in terms of both online visibility and bookability. And the impact of the programme certainly looks like it'll be transformative. At this point, with 2 industry intakes to the programme, there are 483 businesses active in Digital That Delivers, and 9.7 million has been allocated in grant funding. A further 200 businesses in the experiences sector will be recruited by the end of February. And if you're an attraction or activity provider and you're interested in joining the programme, please reach out to your local Fáilte Ireland rep. We have a good spread of businesses across all 4 regions, and linking back to my earlier contribution on regional dispersal, we have now increased by 79% the number of experiences that are visible and bookable online, benefiting the businesses and their destinations. And importantly, based on an analysis of 40 graduate businesses from the programme, they've secured an average 30% increase in revenue, with numbers up across direct and indirect channels. So where next in 2024? In terms of Digital That Delivers, we'll support businesses in intake 2 and 3 until the end of 2026 to transform digitally. And we'll launch a Digital That Delivers graduate programme later this year to provide ongoing digital advice and supports to businesses completing the programme. It's vital that we support businesses to stay on their digital journey. Our new EU Just Transition Digital Transformation Programme has now closed for applications and will commence in April. And this programme is open to a wider range of businesses, and this will give us insights to inform future national programmes into other areas of the tourism industry. Finally, we're working on a new industry digitalisation strategy with a view to understanding the impacts and potential applications of different technologies across the tourism sector. We can't go anywhere without bumping into conversations about virtual reality, augmented reality, generative AI, Internet of Things, and so much more. There's so much change that could be described as the Wild West, and we want to better understand what's happening, find examples of best practice in terms of applying these technologies to real business problems, and then use these findings to inform our work with you over future years. We believe that digital solutions will be critical to you in unlocking productivity gains and delivering better visitor experience, and digital needs to be integrated into your overall business planning. Let me hand you over now to Jenny to hear about other significant support programmes for the industry.
Thank you, Paul. While the outlook for 2024 is positive, there are challenges. For a number of reasons, accommodation shortages are a reality. The support of the humanitarian crisis has shown that tourism accommodation is the cornerstone of the tourism ecosystem. We need to know what accommodation stock we have and where. The introduction of the short-term Let's Register will provide us this data. The department are planning to have the legislation enacted by government by this summer. And once this is done, Fáilte Ireland will launch the register. As a reminder, when the legislation is in place, property owners advertising short-term tourism accommodation for periods up to and including 21 nights will have a legal obligation to register their property with Fáilte Ireland. As soon as we have clarity on the timeline for the legislation, we will start to engage again to ensure that everyone is in a position to understand the new requirements. At a strategic level, we will continue to draw attention to the accommodation shortages and the consequences of this on tourism. And at a practical day-to-day level, we continue to support the development of tourist accommodation by managing data on existing stock levels, forecasting required levels to meet growth targets, evaluating the development pipeline, and working with local authorities and developers to support the development of additional accommodation stock. In 2021, recruitment and retention were the #1 challenges facing the industry. While it is still a challenge, in a few short years, you have made significant strides in how you attract, develop and retain talent. The Excellent Employer Programme is open to all tourism businesses with 5 or more employees. Participation in the programme is unprecedented, with 27,500 employees from over 250 businesses participating and benefiting from the programme. This is a staggering 10% of the sector's employees, a huge achievement. The following are some highlights of positive change that employees are experiencing. Induction programme. This was a particular challenge post-pandemic, with many new starters leaving their roles in a matter of weeks, and this was due to a lack of formal onboarding. Significant improvement is evident in this area, with 87% saying when you join the organisation, you are made to feel welcome. Reward and recognition compared to other sector was also called out as one of the main reasons employees were leaving. This perception is also changing. 64% of employees now say that they enjoy special and unique benefits working in their businesses, up an impressive 9% on the previous year. Communication and involvement, a key theme for development last year, has also improved. Management involving people in decisions that affect their job and work environment is up 6%, while those reporting that they get regular feedback from management on their performance is also up 6%. The Employer Excellence Programme was created to change the perception of tourism as a place to work and as a career choice, with both employees and career influencers. And in just 2 years, there are already 16 tourism businesses recognised in the top cohort of employers across Ireland. That's 10% of the top employers across the whole economy. The best employers are those who continuously build on their people practices. We've highlighted some opportunities to do this. We saw earlier that enhancements in induction programs for new starters has a positive effect on engagement levels, bringing them up to 81%. However, this dips once they are in the business for a number of months and drops to 67% at 2 to 3 years. And engagement levels of supervisor team leads are behind where more senior management and the wider team member groups are at. To address these, businesses can focus on 1. Performance management, continuing to promote and implement a programme of ongoing performance management and development, particularly after induction. And 2. Embedding learning and development into this engagement, mapping and agreeing clear career pathways and learning journeys, particularly for those who are 2 to 3 years in the business or who are at supervisor and team lead level. And 3. Communication. Our own Fáilte Ireland research highlighted how employers are making positive strides in terms of reward and recognition. However, there is still a disconnect between what employers say they are doing and what employees see to be the case. Looking ahead to 2024, our focus will be to continue to build capability and expertise in strong employee engagement. We will do this through a variety of channels. For your people, we will continue to provide bespoke learning opportunities through our new Learnify platform for individuals to upskill and develop their careers, which, as we've seen, is a key driver for retention and talent in our sector. We will monitor the progress of our sector against our competitive set of retail and pharma to ensure it is seen as a credible and appealing career choice, and that the tourism industry is in a strong position to compete for talent across the economy. Through a targeted programme of communications and marketing, we will shine a spotlight on employers in the programme and share the impact they are having in the employee experience. Continuing to build capability in your teams is also fundamental to continued business performance. In our recent survey, you were clear the cost of doing business is the greatest challenge facing you in 2024, as is how to balance revenue generation with customer service and value delivery. In 2024, we will be enhancing our strategic supports under a new business resilience framework, which will provide a tailored package of supports to businesses focused on building commercial and financial resilience. This will provide for both short-term and long-term strategies, supporting you to build greater agility to respond to business challenges. In the short term, it will support you to make operational efficiencies, and for the longer term, it will help you to maximise your revenue and market diversification. Additionally, it will guide businesses' internal focus on investing in appropriate systems and technology to provide for better business decisions, allowing you to improve costs and management strategies. We will continue to provide for best-in-class and emerging digital capability by building know-how in achieving better customer personalisation, service standards and business performance efficiencies. Our always-on Learnify platform will continue to build on the extensive range of self-service training and resources we now have to allow professionals and staff teams to take greater ownerships for their career progression and professional development, while supporting people managers in the provision of tools and capability supports to enhance on-the-job training. And finally, we will support you in ensuring your business is open to all. Our newly established inclusion team will be focused on gaining insights and data on where Ireland is at as an inclusive destination and identifying best practice to share. We will support you to understand where your business is at and what you need to do to make your experience more inclusive. And we are developing a number of supports to build capability and understanding in your team so that they can deliver that inclusive experience. Thank you for listening. And now over to Alice from Tourism Ireland.
Hi everyone, I'm Alice Mansergh, Chief Executive Designate at Tourism Ireland. Thank you to Minister Martin for her leadership and commitment, and to Paul Kelly and his team for all the work they do supporting industry, innovating and developing tourism on the ground in Ireland. I'll talk to you about what Tourism Ireland does, and that is marketing the island of Ireland overseas. Our vision is to increase the value of overseas tourism, and we're targeting 5.6% year-over-year revenue growth on average island-wide out to 2030, inclusive of Northern Ireland and Ireland. We'll achieve growth goals by inspiring visitors and strengthening partnerships in this all-important industry for the island. Let's start with partnerships. We are an island, so getting visitors here is vital. We're proud to collaborate with air and sea carriers to market routes for inbound visitors. Air access will exceed 2023 levels this year, including from key source markets like the US, where 2024 summer access looks set to be 108% of last year's levels, truly helping us enable growth. We love to collaborate with Fáilte Ireland, Tourism Northern Ireland, and all of you, our talented local industry leaders. It's you, industry on the ground, who create the magic that visitors experience when they come here. Through events like World Travel Market, we can help local businesses meet and contract with overseas tour operators, who in turn can bring visitors at scale to the island. We'll be enabling 25,000 commercial meetings, helping 750 distinct Island of Ireland businesses in order to get those all-important forward bookings in. I mentioned growth aspirations of 5.6% year over year. We'll be stimulating demand for the regions and seasons where we have the most capacity to grow. While hotel occupancy is 88% in summer, it's 73% from October to May. And as an illustration, that 15 percentage point difference can be worth hundreds of millions to tourism businesses and the economy. Spring is truly a season of green, from St. Bridget's Day to St. Patrick's Day, which we'll be amplifying around the world. For example, we'll be live streaming the St. Patrick's Day Festival in Dublin to up to 50 million TV viewers in the US, and we'll bring a taste of Ireland overseas through Ireland Week themed activities across Europe. At the other end of the year, Halloween can play a pivotal role. Halloween is a key cultural moment around the world, and yet not everyone knows that it originated here on our shores more than 2,000 years ago. We're excited to tell that story overseas. We'll be targeting greater regional growth too. Did you know that 80% of people research what there is to see and do online before they decide where they'll go on holidays? So there is an opportunity for smart, data-driven marketing to help visitors discover more to enjoy within the regions they're considering. If we know you're researching the beautiful cliffs of Moher online, for example, we can show you information not only related to the cliffs, but also to the hidden gems nearby, the caves, boat trips, islands, food experiences, villages, and so on. We'll be enhancing our digital assets this year to surface hidden gems, to expand bucket lists, and to win hearts, minds, and bed nights across the regions. We're very excited about the Sustainability Assurance Scheme, or badging system, that Fáilte Ireland and Tourism Northern Ireland are rolling out this year. We know so many businesses are making strides to be more sustainable. A clear badging system will mean we at Tourism Ireland can promote the message overseas to visitors and trade partners, alongside promoting sustainable itineraries. Overseas tourism generates €6 billion per annum and helps create jobs island-wide. It all starts with inspiring visitors to come to Ireland. At Tourism Ireland, we've completed a segmentation study. We'll be honing in on potential visitors with what we call value-adding tourism traits. That is, those with funds to travel, who value experiences over low cost, and are likely to travel across regions and seasons. We generate awareness through publicity, including co-producing TV shows that highlight what Ireland offers. Our food series, co-created with Donal Skehan, has been viewed on TV 22 million times across Canada, Sweden, and Germany. We'll be building on our advertising campaign, Fill Your Heart with Ireland, featuring the Derry Girls and Sharon Horgan. Alongside creating billions of opportunities to see what Ireland has to offer overseas, we're targeting a 5% brand uplift. That is, people who see campaigns actively considering coming to Ireland this year. And as people move into research mode, Ireland.com is our shop window for what there is to see and do, surfacing hidden gems and locations. The purchase of flights, hotels, or experiences sits with you, our valued industry partners. And that's why the first thing I talked about today was partnership. Thank you for all you do to delight visitors. The journey doesn't end there after the trip. When visitors follow us on social channels, we can turn them into advocates or fans who are reacting to and sharing images and videos onwards to their own friends and family, fueling awareness and consideration for our island for the future. It's certainly a year with risks and with challenges to mitigate. However, we have huge opportunity ahead too, working together and showcasing to visitors all our award-winning island has to offer. I'm looking forward to working with you all.
Thank you, Alice, for that brief summary of Tourism Ireland's great plans for 2024. And thanks to you and all of your team for the great work that you do in promoting our wonderful tourism offering overseas. And thanks to Jenny and to Paul and Niall and Orla for their presentations, and to their teams for their work on all of those various initiatives in support of the environment, community, visitors and industry, as together we seek to drive the sustainable development of the tourism sector. What you haven't seen today is the huge amount of work that goes on behind the scenes in Fáilte Ireland, in HR, finance, IT, strategy management, corporate services and governance. And I'd just like to take a moment to acknowledge Deborah Nolan, our Director of Operations, and her team who enable the rest of us to execute the kind of programmes that we've outlined today. So look, that's it. Thank you so much for joining us, for staying tuned in. And in closing, I just want to wish you all the very best for the year ahead and to reassure you that the focus and drive that we have for sustaining and developing our sector is unwavering. We look forward to collaborating with you throughout 2024 as we seek to implement these ambitious plans. Slán agus beannacht.